one and all. My name is Abhisha, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department in Parul University. We are gathered here for learning and understanding the promising topic on sustainable manufacturing. We will gain a deep knowledge, that is damn sure, because Valaki sir has a great knowledge and research in advances in sustainable manufacturing. So we will be very pleasure to have our speaker, that is Dr. Janak Valaki sir, to give us such a high knowledge in sustainable manufacturing. Sir has completed his Bachelor's of Engineering Mechanical and Master's of Engineering in Advanced Materials and Processes and CAD/CAM. He had completed his PhD in 2016. He is currently guiding 9 research projects. He is now working as an associate professor in GEC Bhavnagar, that is Government Engineering College. He had an experience of 17 years. Now I request sir to start the webinar. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Abhi sir, and thank you, Sunil sir, for giving me this opportunity to discuss today's most promising area, specifically in the field of manufacturing. So, with this introduction, now I would like to start my session. So, before I start, just Abhi sir, I want to know whether my screen is visible properly.
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
Okay.
Sir, you can do full screen. Okay.
Fine.
Sure.
Now, is it okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay. So, very good morning to all the dear students and respected faculty members. As Abhi sir has given my introduction, it was a bit exaggerated. So, I am currently working at GEC Bhavnagar and as associate professor in Mechanical Engineering Department. And my area of research is mainly on sustainable manufacturing. So, looking at today's session would be, as Abhi sir has told me, that mostly students will be there as an audience. So I have prepared my session in such a way that apart from getting knowledge or being aware about the field of sustainable manufacturing, your general knowledge related to manufacturing and sustainability should also be enhanced. So I will start my session accordingly, and then towards the later part of our presentation, we'll move to the more technical aspect. So once again, thank you very much, and I would like to start my session. So today's topic would be on sustainable manufacturing and a new paradigm for manufacturing sector. So many of you might have heard this word sustainable manufacturing. So manufacturing, being a student of mechanical engineering, manufacturing is a very common word, which we all are familiar with. But sustainable manufacturing might be a new word for many of you or for some of you. And why the sustainable manufacturing has become so much important in presently the today's context in the Indian manufacturing sector. So today's session would be on sustainable manufacturing from the perspective of a new paradigm for the entire manufacturing sector. Actually, this is a very, very deep topic, deep and broad topic. So I have decided to divide this session into parts. So today I might be talking on the first part of this session only, and which is related to concept of sustainability and sustainable manufacturing. So as I said, it is a very vast and a broad and detailed topic. So it is always better to get the little insight into the actual philosophy of sustainability and how that philosophy has been taken forward into the area of manufacturing to make it sustainable manufacturing. So as a part of first session on this, the presentation would cover I will be discussing on sustainable development and sustainability, then sustainability in manufacturing, then sustainable manufacturing, and the last topic is performance indicators for sustainable manufacturing. So we'll start with the first, that is sustainable development. Sustainable development is basically a word that has evolved in the year of 1980 in one of the report submitted to United Nations by Dr. Gro Harlem Brundtland, and she was at that time she was the Prime Minister of Norway, and she contributed significantly in coming out with this milestone report, which was submitted to United Nations by her committee, and that was known as the Brundtland Commission report, and the title of that report was Our Common Future. And since then, the word sustainable development has evolved, has been put to the knowledge of mankind, that everything which we do has to be evaluated on its sustainable or has to be sustainable. So she presented, or in that report, their prime responsibility was to introduce the word sustainable or sustainability and to make it understand, or to make it or to frame it in such a way that even common people can understand the meaning of this sustainable. So then onwards, entire world has to frame their policies related to industrial development, related to social development, and related to other governmental policies, has to be streamlined in the direction to make our things more sustainable. So they come out with a definition or the understanding of the word sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Their intention was to make the people realize that the rate at which we are consuming resources is so high or is so rapid that in a very short future only, many of the resources will be vanished, and our next generations may not be in a position to use that resources for their own needs. So once again, the sustainable development means the development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So that was the basic philosophy laid down into that commission report. And since that, Dr. Brundtland has been considered as the mother of sustainable development philosophy. Now, after the word of sustainable development put forward to the common people, then it was the responsibility of mainly academicians to spread it to the common people and specifically to the educated people, so that people can understand the word, understand the basic philosophy, and frame various practices or the guidelines to popularize the word and to help people understand it and to help people implement, to practice on that. So various people have tried to frame the definition of the word sustainability. As like machinability, we usually say machinability is ability with which the machining can be performed, or the ease with which machining can be performed. So similarly, sustainability means ability to make something sustainable, to make something usable for longer period, like that. So many people have worked to frame the basic definition of sustainability, and one of the pioneering work done in that area to define the word sustainability was by Dr. Donfield. And he tried to frame the word sustainability by, as like, sustainability means activities whose environmental impact is below the level that the self-recovery capability of the natural environment can deal with. And this was one of the path-breaking work or the definition framing work done by Dr. Donfield. And he is the person, and he was heading the Laboratory of Manufacturing and Sustainability at University of California, Berkeley. And based on this framework, the popular fields, specifically in the area of manufacturing, which many of you might be aware about, have evolved. The first is, or one of the important area is life cycle analysis, which is popularly known as LCA. And then environmental impact analysis, eco indicators or eco analysis, green manufacturing, environmentally conscious manufacturing. We'll have a list of these words in the later stage. but all the fields have emerged based on this definition. So he has given altogether a new way to look at the manufacturing activity, even though he has given this definition from the perspective of manufacturing in terms of utilizing resources. But then the definition has become so popular and it has been made, or it has become generalized, which can be adapted to even every fields where human beings are supposed to be involved with. Then again, he has presented the idea that when we talk of sustainability, not only having idea of sustainability is enough. Now, sustainability of anything, any activity has to be evaluated in a proper way. Fine. So this was altogether a new philosophy put forward by Dr. Donfield, apart from simply converting the raw materials or resources into some useful products and using it. And as a manufacturer, people used to put some amount on manufacturing products and selling it at a bit higher price. So in between, they were simply bothering about the amount of profit which they can harness. So Dr. Donfield has come out with another idea, another philosophy, which was very novel, or which was a very, I would say, unorthodox to the manufacturing people. So he has said that every activity which a human being is performing has to be evaluated on three aspects. The first is its environmental aspect, which of course affect the planet Earth. Then it has to be evaluated based on its economy, that is how much profit one is supposed to make out of it. And third is social, whether people are going to be affected or up to what extent people are going to be affected by performing that activity. So that has been later been recognized as three pillars of sustainability or sustainability evaluation. The first is environment, which is related to the effect on planet. The second is economy, which is directly related to the profits which are to be generated, and third is social aspect, which is directly related to the people who are involved in performing that activity and also people involved in using that products or using that product. So this has been recognized as three pillars of sustainability. And when we think of any activity from the perspective of these three so simultaneously keeping these three pillars in mind, so that becomes an area of sustainability, or it means that when we evaluate any activity from environment, economic and social aspect, that evaluation activity will lead us towards the sustainable measurement of the activity which is under consideration. So that is what is the basic idea of sustainability from the three pillars perspective. Now the big question is why we need to focus on sustainability. This is a very serious question, even though sustainability word has been put forward to the mankind in the year of 1987, but because of the limited knowledge available, because of the limited penetration of the philosophy to the society towards the industrial community, it was having a very low penetration. But since 2010 onwards, which we are going to discuss in coming slides, the word has been very popular and people have started using this philosophy, implementing this philosophy in their activities. But the question is still why we need to focus on sustainability. Earlier, the main focus on generating maximum profit through the manufacturing activities, or through activities rather, I would say at this time. So why suddenly a need was thrown to the mankind to even look at the activities from another perspective, that is from sustainability perspective. And the reasons are that in last 50 years, humans have consumed more resources than in all the previous or entire history. In last 50 years, the amount of resources which human being or mankind has used, that is equivalent to the resources which they have used in the entire history of mankind. That was the rate at which the resources had been consumed. in total, 60 billion tons of resources have been extracted annually, and which is 50% more than just 30 years ago. So that means the amount of resources that had been extracted from the Earth's crust is 50% more than the amount which used to be extracted 30 years back. And as much as fresh water has been withdrawn in last 30 years as in last 3 centuries. That means in last 300 years, the amount of fresh water which has been used by mankind, the same amount has been used in last 30 years itself. And between 1950 and 2005, that is during the period of 55 years, the worldwide metal production grew by 6 times. Oil consumption grew by 8 times. Natural gas consumption grew by 14 times. Against the population grew by 2.25 times only. So you can see the difference. Even though the population has grown by 2.25 times only, the rate or the amount, the consumption of resources or the primary resources for mankind has grown many times or multiple times. And this is one of the impetus which has forced the people, specifically in the academic field, to first educate the people, common people, educate the industrial persons about, start thinking in terms of devising or developing new philosophies of using resources, new technologies of managing or converting resources or processing resources, and all that. So this was a very a brief idea or eye-opening facts, and which can be used to understand the word or understand the requirement to focus on the word sustainability. Now, this particular diagram or picture indicates that if we'll continue, the red line indicates that this is basically a plot which we all are familiar. So the red line indicates that if we'll continue consuming all the resources, the rate at which we are presently consuming it, this would be a normal scenario. Are you getting this? Now, this red line indicates that specifically this indicates about the resource consumption. So when we are consuming resources, the resources must have been processed. Resources must have to be processed. Resources or some processes are used to convert that resources into usable products, and finally resources or products are to be used by the people. So technologies are involved. So even if we will start focusing on improving process efficiencies or resource efficiencies, then only we will be in a position to minimize the rate of consumption to some extent only, and that indicates the blue line. That means even though we will use all the resources with great efficiency, with all the possible latest technologies which will ensure minimum amount of resource consumption, then also the scenario would lead to the increasing rate of consumption of resources only. But we have already consumed more than enough resources, and even though we will continue consuming the resources at even increased efficiency, then only in a very nearby future, the resources, many of the resources would not be available for the usage. So we need to, whatever resources we have already used till date, we need to identify that resources. We need to work on using that resources also, so that ultimately we have to bring down the rate of resource consumption towards negative. So it is not allowed, or it is not allowed to continue resources at a positive rate of consumption. The world has seen many dump yards of the resources throughout the world, and it has been a matter of a great concern to environment, to the local people, and even to the economy. So that resources, waste resources are lying idle. So we need to focus on using that resources, and if that would happen, then and only then we would be in a position to bring the rate of consumption of resources in a negative zone, and then it becomes a philosophy. So this is basically known as a technology or sustainability wage. This is known as sustainability wage. So as an engineer specifically now, our responsibility is to fill this wage, by developing or working on some aspects, approaches, technologies or techniques or practices to bring this rate or red line close to the green line. So it is the role of engineers to help society to bring the rate of this red line towards or near to the green line. And this is the basic underlying philosophy of sustainability. And as an engineer, our duty is to work, as I said, towards using the resources which have already been consumed. So, as I said, as an engineer, our role is to, as I said, now we need to sincerely think of using all the resources which have already been used by. So how we can use that? We can either reduce the amount of the fresh raw materials or resources to be used. We can reuse the resources which have already been used. We can recycle the resources, or even we can remanufacture the products, refurbish the products like that. So this is a broad idea about how, or so there are a number of approaches available, and these are some of the approaches which we can think of to implement or to practice. So by working on individual from many fronts, from many dimensions, we will be in a position to shift this red line towards the green line, and ultimately we will be in a position to fill this wage, which is known as sustainability wage or technology wage. So in short, we need to fill this wage by developing new technologies, by developing or by devising new methodologies to deal with or to find alternate methods or alternate materials which are better in every aspect compared to the materials or methods being used currently. Now, up till now, we have discussed about the sustainable development and how the sustainable development has been again carried into the dimension or area of sustainability. Now, why sustainability is important in manufacturing? So that is also now needs to be understood. So why sustainability is important or is to be incorporated into the manufacturing activities? That is the meaning. So we all know that manufacturing is one of the most resource intensive or resource consuming activities being performed by mankind. Fine. Now, when I say most resource intensive processes, that means the amount of resources which are being used or being consumed or being processed are through manufacturing only, or the resources which are available in nature cannot be, many of the resources cannot be directly used by mankind. That resources has to be processed through various stages to make it usable, to make some products which will be finally used by mankind. So it is one of the most resource intensive processes, and the focus should be on the human activities which consume the maximum amount of resources. And these are some of the data which indicates that how significant manufacturing is towards the global GDP. So some of the data is from European Union. So in the European Union, the manufacturing accounts for, this is European Union means entire Europe. So manufacturing accounts for 21% of the GDP of the European nations, and which accounts for almost 20% of all the jobs that have been created. Then India is expected to increase the share of manufacturing in overall economy to 25% by 2025 from current 16% on account of various measures taken by the government, and that has been published in the one of the report released by Niti Aayog of India. So currently, it is at present in 2020, it is nearly 18 to 18.5%. In 2016, India manufacturing activities contribution to India's GDP was 16%, and currently it is 18 to 18.5%. And government is very much optimistic to reach to 25% by 2025, because manufacturing has been considered as one of the most sustainable job creation area. India being a country of 135 crore people has to find some sustainable means of employment, and manufacturing has been considered as one of the most sustainable means of creating jobs. Service sector is most vulnerable, as we have already witnessed during the corona pandemic, that many jobs have been vanished. Many people have lost their jobs, which were specifically related to service industries. The jobs related that are related to manufacturing have been least affected. So government's focus is to improve manufacturing activity and to take the overall contribution of manufacturing to 25% by 2025. And the rise in the manufacturing activities share in the overall GDP will contribute to the sustainable employment or job creation. And that was the basic underlying philosophy. Now, this is a very important and interesting chart which indicates the manufacturing share of GDP to the global or to various countries. How to understand this diagram or this chart? So at present, this was the chart released by one of the pioneering organization of the world, that is United States Nations Statistics Division, and it indicates that was released in 2010. So in 2010, in China's GDP, manufacturing contributed to 33%. Manufacturing contributed 33% to China's economy. Now, in case of South Korea, manufacturing contributed to 28%, followed by Indonesia 25%, Japan 20%, and India was at 13%. That means the manufacturing activities contribution to India's economy in 2010 was just 13%. However, the global average was 17%. So in India, the manufacturing activities contribution to GDP was even less than the world or global average. So since then, the Niti Aayog started focusing on that. They studied the developmental models of various countries for sustainable job creation, for sustainable development, and they came out with the report which I showed you earlier. During that, from its contribution of 13%, it was projected that by 2025%, we will take the contribution of manufacturing from 13% to 25%. From 13% in 2010 to 16% in 2016, India targeting 25% by 2025. And India is on the right path, as it has already reached to a level of 18 to 18.5% in 10 years. So within next 5 years or maybe 6 years, India is likely to reach to the target of 25% or even maybe before that, because many things have changed during this corona pandemic, and India is expected, or Indian manufacturing industry is expected to perform even much better, or is likely to grow at an accelerated pace than it was projected earlier. And this is again an interesting chart showing how various countries have performed in terms of manufacturing in the global gross value addition. So, what it indicates? So, during 1980, in terms of the contribution to the global manufacturing, United States was at number one. So, United States contributed contributed highest to the global manufacturing, or in another word, the manufacturing activities which had performed in United States contributed highest in the world to the global manufacturing gross value addition. So United States is, so during the last 30 years period, even during this 2020, United States is still at number one. So we can say that during the last 40 years, United States has maintained its rank one towards contribution in the global manufacturing. Then we can see how Germany has progressed. Germany from number 2, it has fallen to number 3 in next 10 years. Then again continued, and then currently it is at number 5. In 2010, it was at number 4, sorry. Then China, how China has performed in terms of global contribution of manufacturing from number 7 to now number 2. And it is also interesting to see India's role or India's rank. In 1980, India was at number 15 in terms of contribution to global manufacturing. And slowly, India has moved, and currently, that is in 2010, it was at number 10th position. And in 2020, it is considered at number 4 or number 5. It has already reached to number 4 and number 5. But India is expecting to reach to or to replace Japan by 2025. So India during 2016, it has already replaced Brazil from its 6th position, and by 2025, India is expected to also replace Japan and reach to the number 3 position. So this is what is planned or projected, and based on the policies framed by government, India is moving in that path in anticipated time frame, in or projected time frame. So India is surely going to be. Now the question mark is whether India will reach to this position before 2025. There are all possible chances that India will reach to the 3rd position before 2025 because of the a new global dimensions or changed dimensions due to corona pandemic. The world's manufacturing, India is going to be the next manufacturing hub of the world, as per even the UN's commission report, which was released in 2020. So India is at the center stage of global leaders of manufacturing or global majors of manufacturing industry, and they all are looking towards India. They are expecting India to perform better in terms of manufacturing, and that is why they all are planning to set up their manufacturing activities in India, which would augment India's speed to reach to number 3. And it will also help to achieve the target of reaching to $5 trillion economy by 2025 and $8 trillion economy by 2030. So you can think of currently India is at nearly $2.4 to $2.35 trillion economy. So what amount of value that would be added to Indian economy, and majority of that would be through manufacturing activity. The intention is to make you realize that Indian economy, specifically manufacturing industry, is going to see a major change in terms of value inflow and in terms of new job creation, in terms of new opportunities. India is going to witness something exceptionally new in terms of manufacturing activities in coming days only, within next 5 to 10 years only. So those students who are interested to work in a manufacturing organization, you need to start thinking in terms of identifying new opportunities, new philosophies, new skills that would help you to get absorbed into a good company. Fine. Why sustainable manufacturing? Why sustainable manufacturing? We have all seen, up till now, we have seen why sustainable development and why sustainability is important. What is sustainable manufacturing? But why sustainable? Why we need to manufacture, or we need to manufacture, or we need to convert manufacturing into a sustainable manufacturing, or why we need to implement or incorporate sustainability aspects into the manufacturing activities. So, according to a global research, or according to a research carried out, it has been found that the manufacturing sector accounts for more than 1/3 of global CO2 emission. Manufacturing activities contribute to the global CO2 emission by more than 1/3. That is, more than 33% of the CO2 emission is because of the manufacturing activities. Now, why this global CO2 emission is important to consider at this moment? Rising greenhouse emission is the third most important global risk to the mankind. At present, it is the third most, and it has been narrated into a report on global risk published in 2012, 7th edition. Rising greenhouse emission is the third most important global risk after chronic fiscal imbalances and a water supply crisis. For sustainable manufacturing, there are a range of issues we need to consider, including product design, innovation, recycling, waste management, infrastructure, financing, green pricing, renewables, life cycle assessment, government support, energy usage, available low carbon technologies, legislations, market conditions, consumer needs, and many more. So when we say sustainable manufacturing, or when we want to incorporate sustainability aspects or perspective into the manufacturing activities, there are a number of dimensions from where we can consider implementing or incorporating sustainability into manufacturing activities. The list is very ample, very vast. We can even pick up one of these aspect or element to work upon, and working on that will increase the sustainability of the current activities. That is what is the meaning of sustainable manufacturing. Before we discuss about the sustainable manufacturing, let us try to get an idea about what is the basic meaning of sustainable manufacturing. We, being people, understanding the word manufacturing, we usually understand manufacturing from this idea, that is mechanical or physical or chemical processes to modify geometry, properties, and appearance of a given starting material in the making of finished part or product. Manufacturing is basically a sort of activity which may be either mechanical or physical or chemical activity, which will process the raw material or resource to change the geometries or properties or appearance of a given resource to convert it into final finished product. That is what is the basic understanding of manufacturing for engineering. Now, when I say sustainable manufacturing, what is different from the conventional perspective of manufacturing? So when I say sustainable manufacturing, the intention to say sustainable manufacturing, or the meaning of sustainable manufacturing, is the creation of manufactured products that use processes that are non-polluting, conserve energy and natural resources, and are economically sound and safe for employees, communities, and consumers. So sustainable manufacturing means doing all these things in such a way that it does not pollute the environment, it uses minimum energy and resources, and at the same time it must be economical also for employees, for communities, and for consumers. So if we focus on that, means we have to perform, we have to continue performing all these activities to convert raw material or resources into finished products. That is also a part. But whatever we do to convert or process these resources has to be from different perspective. We have to find or use new technologies which will emit minimum amount of emissions, which will consume minimum amount of energy, which utilize minimum resources, and all this should finally result into a low cost production or low cost of the final product. And that is what is the meaning of, or doing all this exercise from a different perspective is known as sustainable manufacturing. This is the broad understanding or meaning of sustainable manufacturing, which was presented by United States Department of Commerce, and they initially defined sustainable manufacturing to the commercial people. Once again, another perspective to look at the sustainable manufacturing is sustainable manufacturing processes are those which generate minimum quantity of waste, demonstrating improved environmental performance and energy efficiency while providing operational safety and personal health. This is what is sustainable manufacturing process. So this is what is to be done to make a manufacturing process a sustainable one. So it has to generate minimum quantity of waste, it has to show improved environmental performance, and it has to consume or energy consumption has to be with high efficiency, and at the same time it has to provide safety to the operators. Another way of looking at sustainable manufacturing is it is a branch of sustainability that deals with economical, environmental, and social objectives of manufacturing activity. That is three pillars of sustainability. That means when we evaluate the manufacturing activity from the three pillars of sustainability perspective, and make it an objective, that manufacturing activity is considered as sustainable manufacturing. So even though sustainable manufacturing has nowadays become a common word, another words are also popular specifically amongst the engineering people, or in the green manufacturing, clean manufacturing, environmentally conscious manufacturing, environmentally benign manufacturing, environmentally responsible manufacturing, eco-friendly manufacturing, sustainable manufacturing. So all these words have a very specific objective to deal with manufacturing. But overall, all these are basically related to the broad umbrella of sustainable manufacturing. Now again, this is an important chart which indicates that on the time frame starting from 1998, how the value creation has increased because of implementing or by implementing sustainable manufacturing practices. How the value creation, how sustainable manufacturing practices or usage of or implementation of incorporation of sustainable manufacturing practices has resulted into a value creation for the mankind. So it indicates that if the mankind had used the same technologies or same philosophy of dealing with the resources, the value creation might have followed this path, starting from 1980 to say this. So this is the traditional manufacturing approach, which is known as substitution-based approach. Then another concept was evolved, which was known as lean manufacturing. And lean manufacturing means we need to focus on minimizing the waste generation or waste creation because of the manufacturing activity. So if we'll focus on minimizing the waste generation from the manufacturing activity, it becomes a field of lean manufacturing. So if we would have implemented lean manufacturing, the rate of value creation would have increased might have increased up to this point. Or surely that means from the traditional manufacturing, if we'll move towards lean manufacturing, surely value creation or value addition would be more. And instead of lean, another area is green manufacturing. That way, here the emphasis in lean manufacturing, the emphasis is on waste reduction, while in green manufacturing, apart from waste creation, waste minimization is inherent into the green manufacturing philosophy. But apart from the waste reduction strategies, another strategies are also to be used which ensure environmentally benign or environmentally friendly activity. and which is popularly known as 3R based technology, and which is popularly known as green manufacturing. So when we implement green manufacturing approach, it has the potential to increase or add more value to the products. And the latest philosophy is sustainable manufacturing, which is basically known as innovative approach or 6R based approach. So when I say 6R based approach, so sustainable manufacturing has the potential to add value at a more rate, or we can say it has the potential to add much higher value to the manufacturing activities. And it has been seen that since 2010 onwards, sustainable manufacturing has been accepted by commercial organizations. They have started implementing, or they have realized the importance of sustainable manufacturing towards the value creation specifically. And with the time lapse, with the development of new technologies, which ultimately contribute to various data collection based technologies, people will be have been in a position to use the data correctly, develop new philosophies of dealing with all this. So that means currently the manufacturing industries have accepted or have started realizing the importance of sustainable manufacturing. Many of them have already started implementing sustainable manufacturing, and others are in pipeline. They will accept it by will, or the consumer base or the world will compel them to implement sustainable manufacturing. And it has already seen, or the traces have already seen, that nowadays the global consumers have started looking for buying the products which meets the environmental performance standards. So as like ISO 9000 standard, which is basically which is related to process standardization. Nowadays, environment management standards have also been in practice, like ISO 14000 or ISO 22000 series. So it deals that there are consumer base which are specifically looking for products which have been manufactured from or which comply to the ISO 14000 or ISO 22000 standard. So to obtain that standards, company has to think of these 6R based philosophies. And what this 6R is: remanufacture, redesign, recover, recycle, reuse, and reduce. These are the 6 R's. So we have to, a company can focus on remanufacture, company can focus on individual R or all R at a time. So that will ensure that if the company or organization deals or incorporate a philosophy or strategy or technology which will remanufacture the products, damaged products, which will redesign the product according to minimum environmental impact or environmental or greenhouse emission, recover the energies or resources which are ultimately converted into waste, recycle the waste or products which can be recycled, then reuse by some means of refurbishment, or reduce the consumption of resources. So these are 6 R-based philosophies which will which has the potential, or to implement all these 6, new innovative methodologies, technologies have to be developed and implemented. So which will ensure minimum consumption of resources, minimum energy consumption, minimum waste generation, maximum minimum emission development or generation, and all that. So ultimately all this will contribute significantly to the value creation, and that has even seen by those companies. There have been number of case studies that have emerged in last 10 years, which has shown that those companies which were on the verge of getting bankrupt, by implementing 6R based philosophy into their manufacturing practices, that companies have shown remarkable improvement in the performance. And those, as I said, which were on the verge of getting bankrupt, now have been again in a position to generate huge amount of cash profits. And this is again an important chart representing how the manufacturing share of GDP of different countries have been over the period of time. So This chart shows the scenario from 1917 to 2010. So we can see that the blue line is for Japan. That means, that indicates that in 1970, manufacturing activity share in Japan's GDP was nearly 35%. And from 17 onwards, it has shown a declining trend up to nearly 2010, wherein it was below 20%. So manufacturing activity share in Japan's GDP was reduced from 35% to nearly 17%. So it has reduced over the 40 years time frame. Manufacturing activity share of in Japan's GDP reduced by almost 50%. Are you getting this? But an interesting trend, why I am showing you this is an interesting, almost, so manufacturing activities share in the individual countries or even global economy has shown a declining trend up to 2010. Up to 2010. This is a really interesting phenomenon. Now, from 2000, nearly from 2010 onwards, you can see there is a drastic change in terms of the improvement. I hope you are able to see this. So you can see a drastic change from nearly 2010 onwards in the share of manufacturing in individual countries' GDP. And that has been possible through the popularization of the 6R based technology or philosophy, and also with the invention or with the commencement of Industry 4, that is the fourth industrial revolution, which is known as cyber physical system, which is basically known as smart systems for manufacturing. So sustainable manufacturing. So I hope that many of you would have seen this face earlier. And he is known as the father of sustainable manufacturing philosophy, and he educated the world about sustainable manufacturing, or he contributed significantly to educate manufacturing people about the meaning of sustainable manufacturing, and he worked significantly to teach people how to ensure sustainable manufacturing. પેલા લોકોએ તો ખાલી વાત જ કરી. The earlier people, they simply came forward with the philosophy. Now he did work, this person did work to implement that philosophy onto the shop floor. And he is Dr. I.S. Jawahir from University of Kentucky, US. And he came out with the idea of evaluating or measuring sustainability of the manufacturing process. Until we are in a position to measure the current status of the activity, we cannot say that which activity is to be prioritized and how to measure sustainability. Until his contribution to the manufacturing, sustainability was mainly limited as, or was used as an abstract word, even though it has got broad meanings, but nobody was knowing that how to evaluate, how to measure sustainability. It was basically a qualitative sort of idea or philosophy where people simply can say that sustainability has improved or it has decreased, or how sustainable one process is compared to another one. That's it. But he contributed, or he presented to the world, that how we can actually form an index, or how we can quantify the sustainable activity or sustainability of a process. And he has came out with an idea of sustainability of manufacturing process is to be defined, measured, and evaluated using these 6 sustainability criteria, sustainability evaluation or sustainability measurement criteria. So he gave 6 sustainability criteria, and the individual criteria are to be measured from the data collected, and from that we can find the index for individual, and we can find a cumulative index which is known as sustainability index. So these 6 criteria are manufacturing cost, energy consumption, waste minimization, operational safety, personnel health, and environmental impact. These are the 6 criteria against which every manufacturing activity has to be evaluated. Some numbers are to be found for each of these 6, and again a cumulative number is also to be found, which will give an overall sustainability index to manufacturing activity. Now the beauty is, from the 6 criteria, we need to find, or we need to minimize the 3, and we need to improve the 3. That means to implement or sustainability of a manufacturing process, one of the objective is to reduce the manufacturing cost, reduce energy consumption, and reduce waste management practices, and also improve operational safety of the process, improve personal health of health of the workers or personnel who are working on the shop floor, and improve environmental impact. Improve environmental impact means minimize the ill effects of the emissions or byproducts created. So we have to improve environmental performance of the process. These are the 6 criteria given by that. So as I said, minimize manufacturing costs and all that. So this is the main or basic objective of sustainability in any manufacturing activity. Now, based on these 6 indicators, again individual indicator is so broad and so deep that we need to work significantly to identify the individual index. Say for example, economic performance. Whatever activity which we have taken for sustainability assessment has to be first assessed on the basis of 3 pillars, that is economic, social, and environmental. So when we want to evaluate any process or assess any process from economic performance point of view, what we can do? So these are some of the measures which we can have to check or investigate or evaluate economic performance of a manufacturing process, and that are manufacturing cost, energy cost, quality of the product, production efficiency and productivity, technology level employed, and supply chain network, how efficient supply chain network of the organization. All this will contribute to the revenue generation of the organization, and through revenue generation model we can, or one can, find the economic performance of that process. When sustainability is to be evaluated from environmental performance point of view, what we can do, or what are the indicators available which will help us to assess the performance from environmental front. That is the material and water usage for carrying out this activity, the amount of energy consumption, then water, land and air pollution caused by the activity, then restricted waste generated as per the occupational health standards, then amount of emissions or toxic emissions released. All these performance indicators will help us to finally calculate or measure or find environmental performance of this process, of a particular or the process at hand. Then its social performance also needs to be evaluated, and the indicators which one can use to assess social performance of a process is health of the personnels, happiness level of the personnels, education level of the personnels involved in carrying out this activity, then poverty level, then standard of living. All these are the performance indicators to measure social performance of a manufacturing activity. So these are termed as the performance indicators to measure sustainability index. I hope I have cleared it. I have make it clear to everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear. Okay, sir.
Yes, I'm unable to change the slide.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. For cost, again, Going deep into the individual indicator or performance indicator, say for example, economic performance, we have to calculate cost associated with that. So again, within the cost element, number of sub-elements, sub-cost elements are there, which we need to measure somehow and find the cost of individual elements, sub-elements like labor cost, cost of consumables, cost of energy, maintenance cost, cost of byproduct or of product treatments, and indirect labor cost. Apart from that, number of sub-elements are there. The intention is to make you aware about various cost elements which are to be calculated, which are to be measured, which will ultimately to be used to measure economic performance of a particular activity. Similarly, energy consumption is to be also calculated. So, say inline energy consumption on maintaining facilities, facility environment, or energy consumption in transportation, in and out of line, then ratio of use of renewable energy. These are some of the indicators used to measure the total energy consumption in carrying out all the activities, and which will be ultimately used to assess the environmental performance of the process. Then again, in environmental performance, greenhouse gas emission from the energy consumption, then total water consumption, mass of restricted waste generated during the operations or processing, then noise level inside and outside the factory, then ratio of renewable energy used. These are some of the performance indicators to be used for assessing environmental impact of a particular manufacturing industry or manufacturing activity, sorry. Then operator safe, so exposure to corrosive and toxic chemical, then exposure to high energy environment, then injury rate of the workers or personnel. These are the indicators which are to be used to assess the operator safety level or operator safety index of a process. Then personal health, that is chemical contamination of working environment, then mist or dust level, noise level, physical load index, or health related absenteeism rate. These are some of the indicators which are used to assess the personal health index of a process. Then waste management, mass of restricted consumables, consumable reuse ratio, mass of mist generation, or mass of disposed chips and scrap generated, then ratio of recycled chips and scraps generated. These are some of the again indicators which help us to find out the waste management index, and all these individual index are when evaluated on a cumulative base, that will give us a sustainability index of a manufacturing process, and based on that index we can say that what is the performance of a particular manufacturing process on sustainability front. Now we have understood about sustainable development, sustainability in manufacturing, then sustainable manufacturing. Then we have had an idea about how sustainability is to be evaluated, what are the indicators used, what are the key performance indicators used through which we can measure individual indexes for sustainability and overall sustainability index. Now ultimately how to do it, how to implement it. There are basically 5 approaches, broad technological approaches through which we can implement sustainable manufacturing. These approaches will help us to prioritize the activities to be focused or to focus upon. That approaches are as simple as housekeeping or doing the housekeeping activities on the shop floor at the best possible way. And it is as difficult as coming out with altogether new product design. There are simplest approaches, very simple approaches to implement sustainable manufacturing practices in a shop floor or in an organization. And there are technically or technologically absolutely difficult approaches also available, wherein altogether products are to be designed from new philosophies. So in that way, the first is housekeeping, improving housekeeping activities within the organization, and which is, as I said, very easier approach to start with. compared to the housekeeping, the difficult approach is process optimization. Whatever activities or whatever processes which are being followed in the organization, we need or one needs to optimize all that processes, from minimization of resources used, minimization of the energy consumption, minimization of the water or minimization of all the resources front of you. When I say process optimization, means minimizing the resource consumption at each and every stage of that process. That is comparatively, or that is bit difficult stage or approach compared to simply housekeeping. Another approach or bit higher level of approach to implement sustainable manufacturing is identifying material substitution. Identifying material substitution. Whatever resources which are to be used to perform or manufacture products, we have to identify a substitute materials which will help us to improve environmental or which will help us to improve the overall sustainability index. So we will look for, or one has to look for finding alternate or substitute materials. Again, bit difficult approach to implement sustainable manufacturing is identifying new technologies which will ensure minimum resource utilization or consumption. Identifying new technologies or developing new technologies. And the most difficult is developing new products or developing products with altogether new philosophy, new product design approaches. This is the most, or this is a more difficult approach of implementing sustainable manufacturing. Again, this was again given in one of the United Nations report, these approaches. So these are 5 approaches to deal with or to implement sustainable manufacturing. So when I say one wants to convert the existing manufacturing activities into sustainable manufacturing, now depending upon what level of improvement one is looking for, what amount of investment one is capable to do in these activities, he has or one has the simplest possible options to improve housekeeping activities of the shop floor or of the organization, or adopt or implement new technologies, and even improve or develop new deep product designs. So whatever is suitable to individual organizations' capability, they can look for a possible approach. One can start with one approach, they can move to another approach, or they can start working on all the approaches individually as well as simultaneously. This is what is the flexibility available. But working on individual will also called as practicing or implementing sustainable manufacturing. I hope that I am clear to you all. So whatever I have discussed so far, the audience would have understood the area of sustainable manufacturing and how we can go for activity or improvement in or implementing sustainable manufacturing.
Yes, sir. Actually, there are many students which are from MTech production. So they are also taking benefit of this.
Okay. So, Abhi sir, I would like to know how many participants have joined so far.
Sir, 150.
150. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So this was up to this is just the first part of the philosophy of sustainable manufacturing. As I have given you a basic insight or overall idea about what is the philosophy of sustainable manufacturing, now it is time. I think, sir, for how many minutes we can continue our session? It has already been 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. We are just having still a question answer session and then any skill.
Fine. So as I said earlier, that it's a very broad and deep area. So it is not possible to keep talking on sustainable manufacturing for longer period. You need to have some time to think on what has been discussed, what is the overall underlying objective or philosophy of sustainable manufacturing. You have to think it on your own from various perspectives, from various dimensions. And maybe sometime, say after a few days or months, we may have another session on letting you know about how these individual approaches can be taken up, can be from the academics point of view, from research point of view, which can be implemented into a particular shop floor directly. So I have been working on sustainable manufacturing since last 7 years, and I have worked on many projects related to my major research is related to process optimization for sustainable manufacturing, raw material substitution for process for sustainability improvement, and identifying new technologies for sustainable manufacturing. So I've been working as I said by Abhi sir, I am currently working on 9 PhD projects, and many are related to, up to some extent, are related to sustainable manufacturing, improving sustainability of manufacturing process. And I am working on the 3 approaches. One is process optimization, material substitution, and new technology development. Fine. So
Okay.
I would like to show you few videos. Before I end this session, I would like to show you few videos related to my work. So I have developed a technology. My work is there, has been published in the renowned journals of elsewhere, Springer, Taylor Francis, Sage. This is one of the video wherein I have developed a new technology, and the paper has been published by as a book chapter in Elsewhere book. So this is a spray cooling or mist cooling approach for surface grinding process. The conventional method of applying cutting fluid is flood cooling, as grinding is the most energy intensive process compared to all manufacturing process, which consumes more than 50 times energy compared to its counterpart, finishing process. And cutting fluid contributes highest to non-sustainability of a particular manufacturing process. So the focus was to develop new technology to minimize the amount of cutting fluid usage. I have also used the same technology for EDM process, that is electric discharge machining process, wherein the intention was to minimize the amount of dielectric fluid required. EDM is a process wherein the workpiece is to be submerged into a fluid. So at a time, more than 100 liters of dielectric fluid is being used. So instead of that, I have used a technology which utilize spraying, high pressure spray of a minimum quantity of dielectric fluid. There is a concept called MQL, minimum quantity lubrication or minimum quantity fluid. But this is in between minimum quantity and conventional fluid. It is higher, the cutting fluid or fluid being used is higher than the minimum MQL concept. So it is spray supply or mist supply. And again, another concept is also there, which is known as misting or atomizing. So high pressure with minimum droplet size, that is misting or atomization. And all these projects have resulted into much better improvement in terms of the manufacturing indicators. The results in terms of material removal rate, surface finish, surface hardness, and all other metallurgical aspects have improved drastically compared to the conventional means. My papers are already available on the web media. One can see the videos of my work are also available on YouTube on my channel. So if one is interested, they can have a look at all this. So I worked on Jatropha biodiesel, Castor biodiesel. I'm also working on measuring the emission products from various manufacturing products, quantifying the toxicity or hazardness of various emissions. Fine. So I think I have put forward the topic to the students and faculties who are interested to pursue their higher studies or explore the field of manufacturing from sustainability perspective.
Sure, sir. question answer.
anyone wants to ask any question,
Yes, sir. Actually,
I'm
there are
ready
two.
to reply. I will try my best to give instant reply to them, and if I could not, they can send me their message or email. I will try my best to find or get the query solved.
Yes, sir. There are actually two questions. There are lots of, but I'm just asking two questions due to constraint of time. The first question: will there be a sustainable manufacturing revolution after post COVID-19?
Definitely, as we have seen from one of the chart showing the global share of manufacturing in share of manufacturing in global say GDP. So it has shown a drastic change from 2010 onwards.
Yes, sir.
So sustainable manufacturing, realization of sustainable benefits of sustainable manufacturing has been has witnessed since 2010 onwards with the development of sensor-based technologies. Basically, this measurement of sustainability index was difficult because of the availability of technology to measure abundance of data, and that data processing was required to find individual indexes and finally overall index. With the availability of low-cost sensor-based technology, it has been possible to calculate various data very precisely with low cost, and it has been possible to find various individual indices and finally find cumulative index. And post-COVID, as I said, India specifically is going to witness a huge inflow of the manufacturing amount on manufacturing area. Again, many technologies will be developed, and that technologies will more or less will be used to assess the performance of the activities, and that will surely reach to assessment of manufacturing activities also, and it will surely improve the overall sustainability of manufacturing activity.
Yes, sir.